Why does it feel like everyone is winning except me? That was the question I asked myself for years, silently. Every time I opened Instagram and saw someone posting about a new job, a new car, a perfect relationship, or some amazing trip, something inside me sank. I'd say, good for them on the outside. But inside, it hurt. It felt like every win someone else posted was a brutal reminder of how behind I was, how stuck, dull, and small my life seemed in comparison. And the worst part? It became a habit, a silent addiction. I'd wake up and scroll. Before bed, scroll again. And with every story, every post, every highlight, I compared myself, without even noticing. Their body, their lifestyle, their routine, their success. And little by little, I started to feel ashamed of my own life. Without realizing it, I began to hide parts of myself. I stopped sharing what I was doing, stopped believing in my own ideas, started to think everything I had, everything I was just too small, too ordinary, unworthy. And when you start seeing yourself like that, something inside you begins to die. I remember one night especially, I was lying in bed exhausted, phone in hand. I saw someone who started a project similar to mine, and in just a short time, they had tons of followers, brand deals, people cheering them on in the comments. And me? I was still stuck in self-doubt, still scared, still questioning everything I did. My heart sank. I felt jealous of someone I didn't even know, not because I hated them, but because their success made me feel like I would never be enough. That night I realized I wasn't just scrolling. I was slowly destroying myself. Day after day, thought after thought. Comparison is like a drug. It gives you a quick hit of self-loathing, a dose of not enough. And the more you take, the more you feel like you need to change something, anything, about yourself. You start to question your choices, your pace, your entire life path. You forget that every person has a different story, a different timeline, a different set of challenges behind the scenes. But in your mind, you feel like you're in some race, and everyone's ahead of you. What's even worse, I didn't even know this was an addiction, because society normalizes it. Phrases like, if they did it, why haven't you? You're already that age and haven't achieved that yet? Look at so-and-so, already married, already successful. These ideas haunted me, and no one could see that behind my smile. I was slowly falling apart. Eventually, I started comparing myself even to the people closest to me. Friends who earned more, people who were always traveling while I was saving every penny, others who seemed to be living the perfect life, while I was struggling just to get out of bed. And without even realizing it, I started pulling away from everyone. Because every time I saw someone doing better, I shrank. I minimized myself. I felt like I didn't belong, and that led me to isolation, anxiety, loneliness. It was like the world kept moving forward, and I was frozen in place. But the worst part, I started comparing myself to an imaginary version of me. The me I should have been by 20, by 25, by 30. I built up this perfect version of myself, and every time I looked in the mirror, I felt like a failure for not being that person. It crushed my self-worth. I started believing something was wrong with me, that I was behind in life, that somehow my entire journey was broken. And when you believe that, you stop trying, you stop dreaming, you start hiding, and you slowly begin to lose yourself. But one day, something changed. It wasn't a big moment, just a regular tired night. I was mentally exhausted, drained from this constant internal war, and I asked myself something I'd never asked before. If I was the only person on earth, would I be happy with what I'm doing? Silence. That one question shattered me. Because the truth was, I wasn't living my life. I was living a version I thought others expected. Worse, I was chasing their lives and completely ignoring my own. That's when I realized comparison had stolen so much from me, my identity, my peace, my joy, my time, and no one was going to give that back, except me. From that day on, I started to change, slowly, carefully, and yes, the habit still tries to creep in sometimes. But now I recognize it. I remind myself that every person walks their own path, that someone else's success doesn't mean my failure, that I can admire others without shrinking myself, and that nothing is worth it if I'm constantly hating who I am in the process. These days, when I look at myself, I no longer see someone behind. I see someone becoming, someone with value, even if no one is watching. Someone who's done running races that were never meant for them. So if you're feeling this too, if comparison is eating away at your confidence, breathe. You're not alone. But you need to understand this. The world will never stop telling you who you should be, but you can stop listening and start becoming who you really are. Because in the end, the only person you should compare yourself to is the you from yesterday, no one else. If this message hit home, send it to someone who needs to hear it, because sometimes a simple truth, said at the right time, can save a life that's quietly falling apart.